dictionary. Yeah, it's immediately getting called for 51,000. And that's going to be because the final frame there is that sort of thing. So what I need to do is we need to change how the events work. So we have to go to the paper flipbook component. Ah. So let's see here. How do we know when the animation is started? So it's the old position equals 0 and the accumulated time is greater than 0. Is there anything in here with we're reversing to the beginning? Alright, so we do have some stuff. So it looks like, yeah, we don't take any of this into account. So we have this set playback position. So the old position is 0, and the accumulated time is greater than 0. the old position is the length and the accumulated time is less than the length. New position, old position, new position. Alright. So we've got the keyframes and everything like that. Well, let's check this file out. We're going to need to modify it. I just need to wrap my head around exactly what is going on for this thing. So if the old position, if we started at 0 and the accumulated time is greater than 0, so we have the accumulated time is the new position. So it's basically we were at 0 and we have advanced. Then we've started, yes. So accumulated time is... Alright, so if the old position equals length and the accumulated time is less than length. So what this means is the old position, we are at the end of the flipbook and the accumulated time is less than length. So honestly, this sounds like we should be calling start here. Like our accumulated time is less than our length. So we have gone from the end and we have, you know, gone towards the start of the animation. So I mean, this sounds like this would be animation start and we're actually reversing. If we were at the end of the animation and are now less than the end. And on this, it's if the accumulated time is 0 and old position is greater than 0, the accumulated time is now, we are at 0 and our old position was greater than 0. This is actually on animation end, is what it seems like to me, because we just finished this animation. So let's see if that does it. Fixing our reverse animation playing stuff. So let's see if this does what we want. It might have some problems here where our begin and end won't be called. The end will be called properly, but the start might not be called properly. Well, like if you played halfway through an animation and then you called reverse on it, it would still work properly now. Okay. Yeah, and that's what we were looking for. Just like that. So that's pretty cool looking. So let's make that, you know, faster. Let's have a variable here, let's call it crouch time. We'll make it a float. And we'll just have that get in there for these. Well, that's crouched. What we want is this one right in here. And crouch time, I'm gonna put it at 0.25, so a quarter of a second for crouching. What's going on here? Infinite loop detected in Bitey crouch state asserted during animation end with following call stack. So the crouch state was on animation start. I'm not really sure why this is getting upset here. Infinite loop, alright. So what's the infinite loop is happening when it actually gets into the crouch state? Because I can like do that and it works just fine. So it's the actual crouch state has an infinite loop in it. Was it with this play with infinite loop and duration 0? Was that it? I guess if there's a duration of 0, it just freaks way the hell out. So I need to actually go check for that. So let's throw a check in there for if it's 0. Alright, so let's do flipbook get name. Is that a thing we can do? So what it'll do is it'll set the duration to the default 60 frames per second and throw out a warn log so we don't screw up our animations too badly. So let's try that again. Let's try to trigger an infinite loop. Because what was happening was basically it just like kept the animation. The reason it was saying there's an infinite loop inside of the bitey crouch state is because there was actually an infinite loop inside of the animation, the flipbook component stuff, and that paper flipbook component was calling into this crouch state to tell it about it. So let's try setting this to 0. And oh, whoops, yeah. Well, our warn log's going to work at least, but yeah. Looks like part of my desk is detached from the screw. It was causing issues with my mouse pad. This is this glass desk, and it's got these metal things that are attached to the glass, which have the screws that go into the metal, which is supposed to hold the glass, but the metal has become detached from the glass on one of the screw joints. I have sat at my desk long enough for it to break. Yeah, hardware issues. You got the right idea there. Alright, so let's change that crouch to be quite a bit faster. So we'll go change that to 0.25. And let's get this thing at 0.0. And get this warning getting angry with us. So instead of blowing up, it'll tell us that we have screwed everything up. Yeah, so it doesn't look right with the rest of it. But that's okay. Well, we've definitely fixed a lot of issues today. But I am pretty hungry. Also done quite a bit of random work all over the place. A lot of little fixes, a lot of all that. So I think I'm pretty much done, like, at least for now. Like, we've got some form of crouching in there, and we've cleaned up a lot of little things. Yeah, we fixed the animation list stuff, and figured out what we want to do with it. Getting some more advanced animation stuff going. So pretty much what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get this display name stuff working for all this, and then I'll probably call it. Let's make sure that's the right format before we do anything else. Yeah, we remade the entire animation thing, didn't we? So that's not a trivial amount of work. Let's see, it was inside of one of these states. Yeah, and it's got event pre-update there instead of B pre-update, so good. That's what we want. Alright, so it's the movement state, movement object. So we got initialize, on create, on destroy, pre-update, update, post-update, on state change. Alright, so we got all that. Now let's also change it for all the logic state stuff, just so it's easier and more consistent to deal with. So we got update, initialize, on create, on enter, on exit, on destroy, and can switch. So again, we have update, initialize, on create, on enter, on exit, on destroy, can switch. And then the logic object, we have initialize, on create, destroy, and on update. Or just update. Well, I just call it on update just to be more consistent with all these things. We should probably also set the category for these things. category should be movement. So let's compile that and make sure we got all of it proper. So we got the crawl stuff in there, but it's definitely not what I want. I need to change the movement properties and some other stuff about it. You know, make him crawl slower and change all the different things about when you go, like when he's crawling, he needs to basically have much more precise control over his movement, right? Like he should instantly crawl at whatever speed you want him to and not have any like momentum because he's crawling. You know, like he shouldn't be accelerating much at all. He should just move as fast as he wants to move. Alright, so let's take a look at what this looks like in the editor. Yeah, I probably do. So let's see, this is on enter, on exit, post update, on update, all that. So that's looking just fine for me. The post and pre there, I probably want to change though. Just like that. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt to get a music system without getting copyright struck on YouTube or just having absolute silence or something else. Development's a little bit harder to set up for than others. And I could do something else, like have, you know, something that people can listen to outside of it, which is what I'm listening to, but I don't really want to do anything complicated. So we have to recompile all these headers because we do. and then we'll be done. Alright, so let's just double check that we didn't break anything with the last 2 seconds of development, which I have done before. Like, oh yeah, it totally works, and then explode. You know what I might want to do is, for the crouch animation, it might be transition into the crouch, and then the crouched animation should play. And if you go into crawling, it doesn't actually move. Like, I don't know, I'd have to mess with it, but it might be that the crawl animation only advances when you actually move. That way you know, if you're holding the down key, he's just frozen. You know? You think there's a jerk right on crouch to crouch? I think it's the crawl to crouched, which has the issue. But I can slow it way down and take a look at it. But it's the crawling animation, because like he's moving his arms and his head is moving just a little bit. There's a hitch there when it goes. Because there's no hitch there. It's when you're moving and then he goes into his crawling animation, and then the crawling to crouched, that there's a hitch, and it has to do with that. So I'll probably, instead of going from, it'll go from crawl, and then we can mess with that stuff later. I'll just write that down. The crouched, the crawl animation needs to be advanced only when you actually move. The crawl animation. Yeah, and it's basically, we're not going to have a crouched animation, you'll just be in the crawl. We do not want a crouched animation, only a crawl anim. So, that's what I'll do. Anyway, I am done for today for this. I might be on later playing some games or something, but I think that's pretty good. 5 and 3/4 hour, whatever. So we overhauled animation system, rebuilt movement, added crouch, fixed issues with arrays in the editor, and fixed animation event throwing. So we actually did quite a bit of stuff this time. So I'll get that all submitted, and I will see you guys, or girls, I guess, next time. So thank you for joining, and have a good one.